Hello all. Welcome to the episode 22nd in hexadecimal of Debugging TV Frames program. You can type your questions during this episode. If I can't answer particular questions now, I then post answers on the website debugging.tv. We continue the topic of the previous session on memory dump acquisition. The second part today will talk about basic techniques for process hunts. Here I repeat the main algorithm for using various memory dumping tools and techniques. Again, we need to know where the problem process ID can be found in Task Manager. If your process is still in the list of running processes, then one of possible reasons is its HAN. However, it could also be some exception that led to HAN condition. For example, a thread, exception thread, shows a message box or exception dialog box and it is somehow, say, hidden because it is a service and it doesn't interact with desktop or any other problem. Today we consider the right branch when process ID is present in Task Manager. Depending on what Windows version we troubleshoot, there are two different reliable methods to get a memory dump. Actually, both methods work on Windows 7, for example, and we see this during demonstration. So again, for previous old operating systems that, for example, we still need to troubleshoot, you can use Userdump.exe. I put a link on the slide, so when you download this presentation you can follow. Basically, if you download Userdump package from Microsoft, let's say, so you download it and you execute it. So let me go to that folder. If you execute it, it will be unpacked by default into this folder KK Tools, Userdump. This is the latest one. So basically it unpacks, and you don't need to run installation program because it will install a service and drivers, and you basically don't need to use Userdump executable. This one is a tool to dump processes on Windows XP or Windows Server 2003. So what I show you, so I clear the screen. So basically, if you run Userdump, say x64, because here we have Windows 7, x64. Here I do not, I would say, advocate to use Userdump on Windows 7 or Windows Vista. Just I show you this tool still works. So basically with P you get the list of all processes and their process IDs, and let's say you want to dump. So I run three notepads, and let's say you want to dump all notepads. You just specify executable name. if you specify just process ID, either in decimal or hexadecimal, just specific process ID will be dumped. So it's very easy to use. And of course so here you see we dumped all 3 instances, all different processes of Notepad. So you might want to dump SVC host, for example, processes, just to be cautious that this needs to be first tested. Let's go back to our presentation. So you see that on 32-bit systems you need to use, of course, 32-bit version of Userdump. And I just found that if you want to dump 32-bit processes running on 64-bit system, if you use Userdump 32-bit system on Windows Vista, Windows 7, actually Windows 7 it doesn't work. I show you so again I use test Windows Error reporting application. This is 32-bit version, and if accidentally you get a dump of it using 64-bit version of Userdump, let's do it. Then you can still analyze 32-bit stack traces. So you see, if I try to use 32-bit version of Userdump, it can't dump, but I remember that for older systems it worked. If my memory is okay, is correct. So let's see what, for example, we got this dump. Let's open it in WinDBG. I think it's in users, training, and this should be test Windows Error reporting, crash dump. So what I do, I first fix symbols and do reload. You see the crash, the stack we get is virtualized process, you see wow 64. So to see the real stack we need to load extension. And switch to 32-bit mode. Do a reload, and then we get correct stack trace 32-bit. So on new operating systems such as Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, you can use Task Manager to dump any HAN process. This is very simple. So we have this Windows Error reporting. Just let's you see Task Manager. This is 64-bit Task Manager. That's what I did by using Alt-Control-Del. But if you need to get correct dump, so you don't use extension, so you get 32-bit stack trace right after loading it in WinDBG, then you need to go to Windows sysval 64 and then run Task Manager 32-bit. From there, so what I do, I select process, and you see what I do, I choose create crash dump. So you see it was located here. So let's open another instance of WinDBG, and open crash dump. You see, even without loading symbols, you see we immediately got 32-bit crash dump. But let's fix symbols. We reload, and you see we get correct stack traces. We need to use this 32-bit, for example, when we have hands or crashes with hands from .NET, for example, applications, in order to load correct source extension. So here are links to tools, also link to Userdump article. And so this is all for this frame episode. This is our usual add slide of upcoming training sessions and free webinars. This week starts an accelerated Windows memory dump analysis training. There are still seats available for registration. And also in April starts live debugging 3 training course available for booking now. And in summer we also plan accelerated Windows network analysis training based on software trace and log analysis patterns and software narratology. And so thank you for watching this episode. Please later check out the slides and recorded video from Debugging.tv. The next episode should be in 2 weeks on the 4th of March due to training sessions next week. So thank you very much for attending.